let's get to Greebling. So I wanted to build a kind of 2.5D terrain piece to act as a backdrop for the credits for my high-tier Patreon supporters. I also have been getting increasingly interested in building more Grimdark sci-fi terrain, especially with an eye towards Necromunda. I used a layering technique that would allow me to use a lot of materials that are not overly detailed, but can still lend depth to the final piece. Normally, you wouldn't get away with drinking straws or unmeasured cardboard chunks glued on as the top layer of detail. Straws are flimsy, and cardboard is easily recognizable when isolated. This is also a good way to keep those straws out of the ocean. Subscribe now and follow my quest to upcycle all the trash in the world. For the next layers, I began to add on bits of junk that I couldn't really see applying in other builds. This is a nice way to use up some of the backlog in my inventory. I don't know why in the Grimdark future there needs to be exposed superheated plasma coils, but it's not my place to question what works. Using a stack of drink can tabs, I made a plasma coil. Yes, this is the primary use I have found for tabs so far. I knew I wanted this to be somewhere deep and forgotten, so I brushed on liquid spackle soup to act as drips of corrosion and sludge. I add more greeble and detail into the backdrop using spare bolts from disassembled electronics. Again, this type of material might not be fine enough to include as detailing on a miniature, but it works perfectly as a background element to add more depth and sell the realism on terrain. I've always enjoyed the Grimdark artwork that includes these massive cable bundles dangling everywhere, so I knew I had to build up a set. I use a combination of power cables, hair elastics, and steel wire to make some flexible pieces. Chopped up drinking straws and plastic tubes from soap dispensers make perfect Grimdark cable ties. Did I mention I made this for my patrons? Okay, painting time. I made my own textured paint with sand and baking soda. I wanted the piece to get increasingly dirty and obscured towards the bottom. Everything got a nasty green and a dark wash to set up the base color. After picking out various cables and pipes in some brighter colors, making sure to include the required caution stripes, I hit it with many passes of dirty and rusty washes to unify and sell the grim and grimy appearance. I used increasingly brighter shades of blue to produce a passable lighting effect on the plasma coil. And I think we are done. Again, this build would not be possible without my epic and generous patrons. If you are interested in joining in on our discussions and accessing behind-the-scenes content, check out the Patreon. If I built this for my 40k and sci-fi patrons, what would I make for D&D and fantasy fans? This was a very valuable exercise, and I look forward to making more pieces in this style. So if you're just starting out making terrain, or a new terrain type, consider building a panel like this to test out the various materials and techniques. If you want to see what I make next, you should subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. And I will see you in my next epic build video.